Hey fam, welcome back. There's so much I want to say, and also so much that what is there to say, right? It's currently December 30th when I am recording this, and I have so many mixed feels about this year, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably do too, because we are coming to the final days and hours of this 9 year, of this snake year, if you will, even though the snake carries into 2026, which is so interesting for those of you that follow astrology and the Lunar New Year and all these things. And it's so interesting to me because, yes, we are shedding, right? Some of us have been going through some really, really big sheddings over the last year, if you will. And what I think is so interesting about all of it is that it's carrying into 2026. You know, everyone says oh, 2026 is a 1 year, it's the year of the fire horse. So that doesn't start till February. And this year of the snake actually is the shedding of the skin and then having raw healing skin, if you will, going into February. So there's a 6-week period from beginning of January to February 17th where we are raw and we are healing and we are not necessarily shedding the skin that we have kept on for so long. And as this year wraps up, I've been in a lot of reflection energy, and I'm sure if you made your way here, you probably have too. There's been a lot of reflection energy in the air over the last week, if you will. And it's got me thinking about, what word I chose for this year and what word I'm choosing for next year. And I'm not someone who normally really sets goals anymore because I just flow with life and the threads that come and go and the ones that stay and the ones that want my attention and want my energy to flow to that, right? And in talking to a friend yesterday, we had said our words for 2026. 2 burps. And it was so interesting because my word for 2025 was freedom. And I didn't know what this year was going to bring with that word. In fact, how I thought this year was going to be turned out completely different. I got my ass handed to me, and I know I'm not the only one in that arena. But it's so interesting because when I ask what my word is for 2026, the first word that came to mind was bliss. And it was an internal, I hear you, bliss. It wasn't from an external source. It was literally the voice inside my heart. And I said, well, why not joy or grounded or peace or some other word? I was looking for another word. Why does it have to be just bliss? Why can't that just be enough? And I know that for me, that's been a huge wound. That's been a huge thing that I have been shedding. It's not being enough. And trusting that what comes through is enough no matter what it is. And knowing that bliss is enough. Bliss is actually what follows freedom. Freedom is breaking open, breaking out of the cage, breaking out of the ways that we've been, breaking free from the skin and the identity that we have carried for so long. And bliss is what it feels like to embody, to allow yourself to enjoy pleasure, to not run away from it, right? Freedom is that cracking open, that breaking away, that running away in a sense. And it's funny because I have wanted freedom for so long, and really we are the ones that can free ourselves. We're the only ones that can free ourselves. No one's coming to save us. And that was something that I learned big time this last year. And I'm in a space where I want to bring more joy. I want to bring more peace. I want to have more of these things in my life. Not that I haven't already experienced them, but to fully embody it and not run away from it when it gets good. A lot of us have trained our nervous systems, if you will, to say oh, this is good. When is the next shoe going to drop? I know for me personally, that's been a huge thing that I've had to overcome this last year. And so stepping into bliss is stepping into that, stepping into knowing that when it's good, good keeps happening. It doesn't mean that bad follows on the other side of it. And as someone who does a lot of nervous system regulation, I'm super in tune with my body, and I'm so passionate about it. Not only because I've been a nurse, but and I've healed autoimmune and done all those things, but because being in tune with your body is literally being in tune with your north node, your north compass, your north star, however you want to term it. And so many of us were taught to be disconnected from that. We're taught to be disconnected from our intuition, to not listen to ourselves, to not trust ourselves, right? And bliss is trusting in that feeling, knowing that when it's good, good keeps following, and that the other shoe doesn't have to drop. It's having the nervous system regulation to just be at peace, in silence, in joy, in being grounded, not having to speak. That is something I have learned hugely this year, is that my energy speaks enough for itself. And when I am in bliss and I am in joy and I am in energetic or creative mode, like that energy spews out in the most beautiful way and ripples to all those around. And ripple has been such a huge word these last few months. And noticing our impact that we have on each other, that we have on the world, and freeing ourselves from this caged way of being that we have been for so long. It's pretty cool if you think about it. And so I'm curious if this has found you. What was your word for 2025? What was your word for 2026? Or what is your word? What are you desiring in 2026? Because as someone who I don't set goals anymore. I used to write a list at the beginning of the year, and something that it came from a movie I was guided to watch recently, and it got me thinking, right? Huge question that has been coming up recently is like, what do you desire? It's like that Notebook, like, what do you want? What do you want out of life? What do you desire? What do you want to create? What wants to flow through you? I know I said this in one of my previous videos, but like, what wants to flow through you? What wants to flow through you when there is no expectation, there is no need to put it out in the world, it is purely just for you? What wants to flow purely through you without a box or a cage, or it having to be a certain way, or needing to launch, or needing to be packaged into a product? We get caught on the external so much that we forget that what's going on in here is really what is important. And so I watched this movie recently. It's called The Life List. Highly recommend watching it if you have access to Netflix. And it talks about this girl and her life list and what she wants to accomplish in this life. And it got me thinking, as someone who has been a people pleaser, has been just I want to say running around ragged, because that's how I feel. But as someone who has been living her life for everybody else but herself, because living for ourselves is deemed selfish. Doing the things that we want without anyone else's opinion, or maybe against other people's opinions, selfish. What if selfish is a way of life? What if selfish is the way that we're supposed to be? Because that protects our energy, but also allows us to do what we came here to do. It's an interesting concept if you think about it. We are shamed and guilted for being selfish. And so we live our lives for other people, everyone else but ourselves. We go on to do things that we desire to follow other people's definition of success. That is what we live for. But what is our definition of success? Something else that I've been thinking about and pondering about a lot recently, as I've been asking for more clarity on what do I actually desire. And going into the new year, not only is it my word for the year, but also like making a list of what do I want to accomplish that feels good for me, not for the world, not for the likes, not for the views, not for anyone but myself. What do I want to create? And not have it be a goal that is so unattainable, but have it be something to look forward to. One of my things that I want to do is try something new once every month. What's one thing that is new that you can do for yourself every month that makes you excited, that gives you something to look forward to. Create your life list. What do you want your life to look like? What are goals and things that you do want to accomplish, I guess, but not in a time frame, perhaps. The time frame is the rest of our lives. Because truthfully, we waste so much time trying to do things for other people, and we don't do it for ourselves. This message took a turn, not where I thought I was going with this message, but I always trust that whatever comes through needs to be heard. But what if you lived this next year for yourself? What if you did create your dream life? But have no expectations that it has to look a certain way, because I can tell you that this dream life that I was dreaming of for so long, of being on the road and living in a van and doing all these things, I romanticized the fuck out of it. And it taught me a lot. I'm really grateful for this last year. And was it all sunshines and rainbows? No. But I'm so grateful for what it's taught me and the person that I have become in the process of it all, because I was living for me. I was doing things for me. And it's something that I have been learning a lot about, is doing things for myself. Not from a Miss Independent standpoint, but just, what do I actually like? That is coming home to yourself. And I know this last year has been a huge coming home for me. And I'm sure if this found you, that you're probably on your coming home journey, or maybe you're just starting out, or maybe you've been on it for a while. But what are things that you want to do for you in this next year that doesn't have a specific end goal, perhaps? Or even if it does, it doesn't have an expiration date of, I have to do this by a certain time. You can if you want. I think that leaves more room for the universe to let things flow into your field when you don't keep it in a box. And you just write it with the most beautiful, loving intention in your heart. And so yeah, I'm curious. What are your words? What are your goals? What are your life list options? What are your things that you want to do for you? Another thing that's come up recently in talking with friends is, who are you when you let go of all the external things, when you let go of your job, when you let go of your friends, where you live, and all the things that externally define you? When you let go of all that, who are you? You're not the business that you built. You're not the amount of friends that you have, or the amount of followers or likes that you have. You are you. And who is that at the end of the day? Because so many of us don't know at our core who we would be. And something that I've learned is, when you are stripped of everything externally, right? As someone who lives out of a bag. When you are stripped of everything that you have put all of your time and effort and energy into externally from what is in here, who are you? Who are you without all the money? Who are you without all the things? It's so interesting because so many of us use those things to define who we are. But that's not who we are. And as someone who has been stripped of everything, I am more me than I ever thought possible. I am more whole than I ever thought could be. And that's pretty fucking cool, if you ask me. So yeah. I have lots of questions for you, person on the other side of the screen. And I'd love to hear from you if you feel called, how this landed for you or what came up for you. Yeah. I know for me, I desire more connection going into 2026. And I desire in-person connection, but I also really desire making friends online. And I recognize the beauty in all of this and not having an expectation, but just knowing that we can all connect through this tiny little phone screen, our mobile computer, if you will. And so, yeah. I know the year's not over yet, but I'm wishing you so much bliss and joy and peace going into this new year. And if you haven't already, I hope you find who you truly are without all the external. And I trust that whatever you desire will make its way in the divine, most perfect time. And with that, I will see you on the next one. Mwah.